Hey, hello.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 2 of, let's say the title together, Confidently.
Let's try this again. You didn't tell me we were gonna do it.
All right.
Okay, fine.
All
Okay. Okay, got
On
you.
3. 1, 2, 3, go.
Confident.
No.
1, 2, 3, go.
It's implied.
Okay.
That's just how I use
okay, is it 1, 2, 3, and on 3 we go, or is it?
No,
1,
no.
2?
I say 1, 2, 3, and then I say go.
Okay, got you. All right, go.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Confidently uncertain.
You said go last time.
I just thought you were gonna mess up.
Okay,
Because
no.
you're used to not
Okay,
the go.
we got this, man. Dude, we're professionals. All right.
I am not trained in this, licensed in this. I don't know what you mean by we're professionals.
I thought we'd have coordination in this. Okay,
we're professionals in
fine.
coordination.
Okay, so after 3, we're gonna say
it's not even a profession to be professional in coordinating. Event coordinators. Yeah, that's a profession.
Can we say this?
Okay, on go.
Yeah, on go.
Do you have faith you could do that, or are you going to be used to your 1, 2, 3?
Well, now that you said 1, 2, 3, and then you said it, that's when I want to do it now.
Okay.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, and then after.
Confidently.
No. I'm just telling you what we're going to do. Okay.
And I did it, and then you interrupted.
Okay. Okay. Let's just start this over. Okay. So, am I counting or are you counting?
I'll go. I'll trust you. Okay.
Okay, got you.
So I'll go. Okay. And on go, we do this. Okay.
Okay, ready?
And then we both say confidently uncertain.
Okay, got you.
But you would do it at the same time as me.
Okay, got you.
Okay.
All right.
Ready?
1.
All right, 7.
Okay.
No, I'm counting.
You're counting.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna wait for you.
Okay, you want me to start with 1?
Yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go. Confidently uncertain.
Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Yes, with Nik and Azero. Welcome.
So we just found out this name. It's great.
Yeah, we didn't just find it. I just kind of we really like the idea of uncertain.
Yeah.
And I didn't just want to be the uncertain podcast. I thought we could do more, but confidently uncertain, because we're pretty confident that we don't know any of this, and we feel like that's our strength here. That's a skill we have, that we can say hey, we don't know this. We're okay.
Yeah.
We're okay with it.
We're okay.
Very confident in our uncertainty. Yeah.
Right. It can tie into all aspects of our life, whether it be our careers, whether it be our choices in life, whether it be our relationships.
You're saying I'm uncertain in my relationship? That's more on you if you're trying to state this right now.
I'm talking about my relationship with you, sir. We can't even coordinate a 1, 2, 3, go. No.
Was I supposed to do it? No, okay.
No.
That's what I was nervous about.
Okay, yeah. But yes, so that's our name now.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Now, which means so for the kiddos at home right now, we started the episode 0 with saying we have no name, and now we're gonna advertise "Welcome to Confidently Uncertain" like it's gonna be in the text. But then we started off what's the name? And I hope that's not confusing for people.
Okay.
But this is kind of nice. It's like a time capsule. Now people, because this is going to come out 2 weeks after that.
Right.
At this rate. And now people are going to know what we thought 2 weeks ago. And hopefully we start to catch up on things.
I'm pretty sure. The audience isn't stupid, right, audience? Comment below. Yeah. If you find yourself stupid or not.
Mm-hmm. If you find yourself stupid, just test it. Try to say confidently uncertain with somebody when they count to 7 and see if they let you say it with.
Oh, so there was 7.
Yeah, I was counting to 7.
Yeah, you never told me you're going to count 7.
Yeah, I just said on go.
Hence how stupid you are.
I mean, I thought you would know common sense.
Common sense?
Yeah.
That's not common sense. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, I know it, and so that means half the people in this room.
You know it? So therefore, I'm the stupid one?
Look, apples and tomatoes, all right?
That doesn't even make it. That isn't even a saying.
But anyways, yeah, so that's the title we have now. And what we said we would do on the last episode, you were starting to talk about our process. And I was saying we're already like 40 minutes into it. I was like, that's a whole different thing right now. We're gonna delve. It's gonna be a 2-hour episode if we do that.
We have to unwrap a lot of things on this topic. So yeah, it was a good idea to cut that out.
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, to say process. There's many processes in filmmaking. And then just within like the simple, like the sum up stages, there's so many processes in that. Like I'm literally on the last stage of filmmaking, which is post-production. I think after that distribution. But then in post-production, there's more things. There's putting the footage together. There's doing Foley work, sound design, sound mixing, scoring.
Right.
And so even in the last stage I'm at right now, sound, it's still it's a long fucking work. And look at me, just explain that. I already delved in. It probably took up 2 minutes of the podcast.
I'm already tired.
Yeah. I mean, so that's just, so I knew like, it's going to go on.
Here's actually one little tidbit that I feel like not many people think about whenever you talk about this. You don't get paid for any of this. This is all your own creation.
Yeah.
There's no deadline to this. There kind of is, right? There is and there isn't.
I mean, like, to be honest, if I took 5 more years to create Hyde, I'm gonna get a lot of people down my neck. Like, why the fuck is this? You said you were on the sound process.
Right. So it's like you do have a deadline, but at the same time you don't. It's like what I mean is like no one like this is a passion project in a sense. Like, so this is something that's like no one's necessarily monitoring you as hard as aggressively as like if someone like you were working at a studio and all that.
No one's monitoring me. I have almost this control to stop the project anytime I want.
Yeah.
I just don't because I want to finish it, and also it would just be unfair to do to the rest of the crew who put a lot of work in this to see the final product. I mean,
but you see what I mean though? It's like there's that on the line. Versus like on a studio, it's like, well, you signed this contract and now you're in trouble.
That might be my downfall here, though. Why it's taking so long? Because like, I mean, and it's a good thing that I don't have a deadline, but it's like, I'm willing to put this second to some things, say like work or into my relationships with people, because it's one thing to say you can't hang out with a friend you haven't seen in months because it's like, I have work that day.
Yeah.
But it's another thing to be all like, no, I'm just choosing to stay in this room and edit and do post-production and have these, you gotta balance things. You gotta balance things.
Yeah. And I've mentioned it because that is actually like as freelance artists, that is something that's like not, you have to have if you want to keep like, going on and going further and like gaining more experience, not just with your craft, but like your discipline.
Yeah.
So it's just figuring that out. And I'm just saying like, that's really awesome of you that you keep going with it.
I mean, people see like that if it comes to being like dedicated to your art, you have to make tons and tons of sacrifices to your social life. And at those moments you could find yourself possibly being miserable because you're not interacting with the people that make you happy or doing the things you love outside of your art,
right?
But people will say like, no, you struggle now and then it pays off later. But it's like, well, you could still have you can still have a type of struggle, like the fact like to produce these projects of mine, it's harder when you don't have like a budget right away or people to network with right away. That's the struggle I have, but it's not like I'm sacrificing social life struggle.
Right. Well, that's what we kind of mentioned in the previous podcast. Like, it's not like we're cooped up. We can be cooped up in our rooms.
We are literally cooped up recording this podcast right now.
But we're having fun.
Yeah, in the room.
We're friends. No, but what I mean is like we can be cooped up in a room, working on our stuff like for hours at end. And we can make those sacrifices. And honestly, if that's the case, we could be churning out a lot more content. However, for the sacrifice of our sanity. Yeah. Like that wouldn't be worth it to me as an artist.
And for me, you said like you would turn out a lot more content. I've seen you do that lifestyle in which you like did a speed drawing once a day. Right. And like you would be at your tablet for hours working on it. Yeah. I don't know how your mind works like that. We have different minds. But basically, if I really did like only focus on churning something out consistently and building that portfolio, I don't believe I would make as good as work or even the work I think of because I make stories. Right. I get influences from experiences I have for my stories, from things I hear, people I interact with. Right. And I sense it. Like I've had days in which I would like write on a day in which I was like, I had a great day, or it was like very relaxing, a complete free day. And then I had days in which I came back and I'm just like, you know, kind of like destroyed from whatever it was, work or like there's something very taxing on the brain. And it's just like my work isn't as effective, you know, the things are turning out isn't as good. Like, you know, maybe I would be, I don't think I would be churning out something all the time. As good as quality as I'm doing now.
I would say, I'm not sure how it is in the writing process. It might be a little different, but for me, I mostly did it because it was like in a sense of training, right? I like to be consistent with that type of thing, in the past, you know, I was doing 30-minute warm-ups for a long time. And that was like non-negotiable, right? When I woke up, I did that, right? And it was great. It was awesome. And I don't regret doing it, but there was definitely a certain point where it was starting to become taxing to my overall like mental health. You know, I felt like I had to like paint like 6 hours like every day, you know, because I was told in the school like by some instructors like, hey, if you're not practicing at least 10 hours every day, you know, you're not going to be a better artist. And I like even back then I was like, that is some horseshit.
Is that exaggeration, or literally they said 10 hours?
It's not an exaggeration. They said if you want to be a master at something, you have to put at least such and such hours in it every day. And I find that bullshit. I'm not saying I'm a master at all, but I find myself having more quality stuff by actually working less. Because when I work less, I can absorb what my process is, rather than like, oh, well, I'm looking at the time. It's only been 2 hours, right? It's like, well, I gotta be a master, 8 more hours.
I recreated the Mona Lisa, but it only took 2 hours to do it, so I ain't no master. But you know, it really goes to show that like it's crucial to have balance in your life,
right?
When you're scheduling things with work, fun, passions, and anything else that you could put in there that you want to put into your life.
Yes,
you need that balance, and that balance will help you be mentally healthier,
right? And
that good mental health will help make doing your arts more fun. Well, it's like, make it better.
It's more flowing, you know. The process is more flowing from beginning to end, rather than like I gotta start this in the beginning because of such and such pressure, and at the end it's like, well, I finished it, but really, like, do I really feel satisfied?
It's basically like you never want to turn your passions into homework. You know, because for myself, I have done both script writing out of my own will, like I just wanted to make the story, and then having to make a story for a screenwriting class, and it was definitely a different feeling with both of them.
Definitely. I can
I mean, one was just like I always thought about one story, wanted to write it, and I would just like jump on it. It was almost like that video game you're addicted to. You're like, you think about it while you're all at work or you're out, and you're like, I don't care if I get home at like fucking 11 p.m. tonight. I'm getting on this. All right? And you accidentally stay up till 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And then the one for homework, it's just like I just look at it and I'm procrastinating just on like putting one piece of dialogue. It's like I don't want to do it, but instead of like not doing it and doing something else, or doing it and being very good at it, I just end up wasting time looking at the computer screen, slowly making progress, and then I just feel so drained at the end.
Oh, well, I feel like that one of the reasons why we feel that way is because ultimately at the end of the day, we're doing it for something that we don't really find value in, which is the good grade. To be completely honest, it's like for me, I kind of I feel exactly that same way. Like there was so many projects that we had in school. It's like, okay, you're gonna draw this character. It's got to be like this. You got to make these, right? And it's like, I know it's necessary, right? But at the end of the day, it's just for that good grade. And I'm not saying that a good grade isn't like beneficial in the sense of like getting better or anything like that. But like I said, for someone like us who like for the school system in a sense, like I don't really care about getting an A or an A.
And let's make that clear to every teacher out there at West High School. That is the reason why I got C's D's and the B minuses. All right, it wasn't because I wasn't getting this is fucking chemistry with your like those chemicals like Na, sodium. I know it's sodium. And you know the K, you know, the pepper. I know it's pepper. Yeah. All right.
Are you sure that isn't potassium?
What the? No.
Is it not?
No.
Oh. You know, I felt smart there for a little bit.
Yeah, I actually
you know, that's probably why I got C minus.
I don't even know if you were kidding or not, but it would have been funny because I would have proved the point too. Yes, K is potassium.
Oh, is it?
Oh, look, you didn't know.
Yeah, you did not know.
He didn't. This is not about.
This is all in Google. Why the fuck do I need to know this?
Look, I mean, if I was a scientist, I would need to know this.
I mean, but are you?
No, but if I was writing a script about a scientist, you bet I should know K stands for potassium.
Well, that's why you have Google. Which is another thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're making it sound like you're promoting like drop out of school. You rely on Google 24/7.
Oh, this would be perfect for a masterclass sponsorship right now.
Okay, let's do it. All right, let's just take a quick commercial break. All right, let's just let the music kind of play off there. Yeah, that's the intro.
All right.
You know, Azero. I've been wanting to learn how to become a fantastic chef and learn how to cook things like Kobe steak and maybe even fish fillet. I'm starting to get bored of what I just make, but I'm getting interested in cooking. But I don't want to like fucking like go to college, go to school.
No, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. I mean, but I try Google and Google doesn't have all my answers. I get always the 5 easy steps to making like a homemade meatballs, And
yeah, I hate BuzzFeed as well. But I'll tell you right now, there is actually one source out there that can help you out with all your necessities for your culinary.
Let's say it on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Masterclass calls for a cease and desist, and we're not allowed this commercial. And we are back. That was a great commercial we got there right there, Azero. They actually have a site to help you like it's like masterclass, but it helps you like become a porn star, like a better like in the porn realm.
You mean Pornhub?
Master ass. Am I right? Here we go. All right.
Oh, dude, do you want to be a better? Do you want to be a better fisherman? Master bass.
I don't know if anyone's said that. He said master bass. Dude. Okay, we gotta carry on. We can't talk about how to be a better landscaper. Master grass. That's right.
I got one.
Okay, he's got one more, ladies and gentlemen. Just let it slow down. Let it die down, dwindle.
Oh man, no. There's too much momentum. I got into so much pressure now. I don't work well with it. Fine. Okay.
You look a little queasy, like weak. It's just because of your new diet regimen. Master fast. That's right.
Fuck damn it. I'm done. I don't want to do it.
I'm really curious what your one was.
Okay, fine. I was gonna say, have any interest in wielding? Master brass.
You'll laugh.
I know. That's why I was like don't give me this momentum.
It took me a second to find out what you said. It was like
Master brass.
No.
Yeah. It's not that funny.
You know what I feel like doing?
What?
Let me just edit it, get rid of every other joke, and just put this one, and it'll make it seem like you just died laughing from Master Brass, and then it's quiet for me. Yeah. No, I won't do that to you. But
oh my goodness.
Let's stop selling ourselves out this fast, giving free publicity to like all these types of master
keeping that
programs. Yeah, let's do it. Okay. We said we're gonna talk about the process. We talked a lot about like so far like what we do. I'm like burping and I'm sorry. I in the last recording no one even heard the burps and I said excuse me and it just felt weird. But that's why I just pause and stuttering. Your audio, your speakers are fine. They're not popping right now.
Yep.
But man, I can't remember what we really talked about in the beginning, but we haven't really talked about the process yet.
Okay.
Of what we do and what it is.
That sounds like a general conversation. It does.
But like, what does it mean? Like when we say we are making a film, or like, I don't know what you would say to people, like you're making a portfolio, you're making a art piece for like a gallery.
Right. I mean, it just, you know, it really depends. I like, so actually to tie on to like when I did the warm-ups, the reason I did it is because I was not only practicing like, okay, the efficiency of my time and all that, but it was my improv creativity on the spot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So just, I mean, do you mean like when you say the process, are you talking about start to finish from the an actual
I am kind of curious because like the way, and I feel like I'm wrong here, but like the way when I see you make something, it almost seems like you literally something pops into your head and you instantly just start drawing it.
Yeah.
And you just do it like in a day.
Right, yeah. And literally that is it. And that's what I trained myself to do for a long time. It's literally like, I have a very cool, like, a flash of an idea. Right when I get it, I immediately start drawing.
Is that like a second, like sense right there? Like how, not like a second one, there's many more, but is that like, how is it that like I draw and I see something in my mind and like I don't know shit how to even do the proportions. I found I can't even draw the hand, let alone like I can see the spacing of the eyes and I can't do it.
Well, are you, well, that...
Does this pop into your head? Is that really it?
Well, yeah. Honestly,
I like to imagine there's like some like whiteboard in your mind and calculations in the background.
Well, okay, so I've already practiced the foundation so much to the point where I have confidence in my ability to kind of go a little bit more outside the box with my ideas.
What's outside the box?
Outside the box meaning like, if I have a flash of like, oh my goodness, like this character in this angle sounds really cool, right? And it seems intimidating at first, but I just start doing it, right? I don't focus on whenever I paint or draw something that's like meant to be like, most of my stuff is very theatrical. Most of my stuff is very like, how do I say, like, almost like you're watching a movie.
No,
like,
theatrical.
Is that
cinematic?
Cinematic. Yeah, cinematic. It isn't just a standstill shot most of the time. It's usually like something's going on.
Which makes sense. I mean, you're a storyboard artist.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've worked with me, and I would teach you like film terminology and even tell you like why I want this panel to look a certain way. So I feel like that had to like rub off on you.
Yeah, no, definitely it did. Just knowing more about how cinematography and like the even your process of like making sure like a shot makes sense. Like that's what goes into my head whenever I start. And when I start, I don't think about like I know I just said if it makes sense. I actually start by doing scribbles that don't make sense, right? But I'm just getting the feel of the composition.
That explains your character, Scribble Boy. It's a big old scribble ball wearing scribble pants.
I think that's yours, Nick.
I'm pretty sure you made it.
No, actually.
Look it up on his Instagram, Art of Azero. That's how you fucking promote.
But they're gonna look for Scribble Boy.
Yeah, they're gonna look.
And I have to make a Scribble Boy now.
Get on it, hurry.
Okay, well, wow.
And hide it somewhere for they had to look deep.
That's actually one of my processes, guys. Nick gives me shit to do, and now I'm actually held up to a standard that I don't really want to be in the first place. So.
Is this referring to like the storyboard thing, or just going with this bit?
So back to my process.
They kind of went like it did make sense. Like I do come over and say, "Hey, can you draw the storyboard for me? I give you shit to do."
No, that was part of the bit, but
okay.
I was like, I could have kept going with that, but I was like, I'm gonna drop the ball. But back to what I was saying. So I kind of. It's a very loose process. Like it goes from like, okay, like these lines, like if you've ever watched me from start to like finish drawing something, it's like, what the hell is he doing at first? And then like everything starts to like come together and start to make sense. Like, oh, there's the face. Oh, there's such and such. Oh, this color. Oh shit. Like there's a process to the chaos that you see in front.
I don't know about you, when I see you drawing, I actually more think of the image of you doing like 2 strokes and then you take off a layer and place it back on. I don't know if anyone out there uses a tablet before, but I just see him removing layers, put it back, removing layers, put it back. I mainly just see you always comparing. I'm always there late in the process.
Right. Oh, yeah, you always are.
But you're just sitting there comparing like, should that be it? No, maybe like this, maybe like this. No, and then we just back and forth.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because even like when you're trained in a school system for your process, it's really hard to get out of your comfort zone because you're held to a standard of like industry level, right? Like trying to make sure, okay, everything's tight and crisp, everything is like up to the client standard, yada yada yada. But that's why I love my process so much, because now I guess freed myself from that, and I just kind of went like overboard with it, but it works out for me.
The fun thing is, you mentioned that's how your classes were. I mean, at least for like the actual film production classes, it always felt so loose. In my experience, it felt so loose that half of the students weren't actually doing the assignment. They were making a short film, or they were making a video project, and you look and it's like, you didn't actually follow the criteria. Like, there's some things like the teacher would say like, oh, and don't use any licensed music. Like, don't just put your favorite artists into there, And if someone showed a film that had Frank Ocean in it, like Frank Ocean's Pink Matter, and teacher said nothing. I even one time turned in a project in which, right when I finished up the project, I was looking at the assignment, the actual criteria for it, and it said must have this shot, must have something like this, and I was like, oh, I didn't fucking consider any of that when I made this. Yeah. And I'm looking through, I'm like, I didn't do half of this.
Yeah.
A. I got a fucking A on it. Yeah.
That's interesting.
That was that professor, but it was just like always interesting how like I had multiple classes in which, they would just kind of have fun with it, and the teacher's like, whatever, it was good.
Yeah. No, it's the exact opposite. When I went to Academy of Art, it was like, oh, this is cool, but you didn't follow this criteria. It's like you were supposed to this. They have a checklist in which like if you don't have, that's docking points no matter what, even if it looks super cool.
I would love to see. Do you have an assignment that says F, but the teacher also wrote rad drawing though?
Rad drawing, not specifically rad, but yeah. It's funny that you mentioned there has been times where it's like I got like a like a C on an assignment, but the critique, the like when you put in the critique, the teacher was like, oh, that's actually really good painting. But it didn't I mean, you still get a C because you didn't follow the assignment, but wow, this is actually pretty cool. Right?
Just D, you will get a job at Lucasfilms.
No, but to talk about other aspects of process, because it's like some artists have like the process of, okay, I'm gonna do the line art first, then I'm gonna make sure I do the background, then I do the characters, the background characters, and the forward characters. My process is different every time. Every time. It's never going to be the same for everything. So
like that time you started with a scribble and ended with a scribble. That's right. Scribble Boy.
Scribble Boy.
I forgot if that was his name, but it should be now. Scribble Boy. He's a scribble in a scribble pair of shorts and shoes.
I think of that game Doodlebot.
Doodlebot, yeah, I know the one.
Yeah. For a scribble and doodle, like so those two words that kind of coexist. Yeah. So it's just like doing that.
So you have a different process every time.
Yeah. I have a different process every time, and that's the thing. But I'm the most comfortable with that because I have more of a loose painterly vibe rather than like a tight knit forward process. I'm very I'm good at working under pressure. So anything that I'm like uncomfortable with, I find a different route that's more comfortable for me, right? So it's like if it's a dark scene, how do I explain this for someone who doesn't know Photoshop? Basically, I use different tools for different layouts. And it works really nicely because it's like, I know these tools. I know what I'm going to do and the end result. And then what's really cool is like, you have time at the end to be like, oh, creative with this. Like, oh, what does this do? Oh, what does this do? What does this do? So, that's my process. So, but I'm assuming your writing process is, I wouldn't say more straightforward, but what I notice is you always have a theme first. You have like a central idea of what you want your project to be around, and then you add those elements to it.
Actually,
you think it's opposite? You have
no. I don't have one process either when it comes to like writing a story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at one time I was asked, I forgot what it was, but there was almost like there's these two type of writers, and I forgot what one was called. The other one was like called the like the gardener, the grower. But basically, it's like some people go into a story and they know exactly what they want to happen, like every act, what beats need to be hit, and it's all about like connecting all of those.
Right.
And then there's writers out there who they start writing it and they see where it goes. Right. So that's where it kind of goes like, oh, it's like a plant growing. Like you can't really plan exactly where it's gonna grow.
Right.
So you just kind of follow along and you know it's gonna make a beautiful flower. Yeah. But I've kind of I felt like I've done both ways. Okay, so two stories that come to mind when I think of like a story just like starting its own. Like there's this script I wrote called The Odd Job, and it literally started off with a premise.
It's coming out soon, guys, next month.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it's gonna come out in 1 year, you know. Yeah. Not in 1 year. Let me make that clear. In any year, hopefully. And
then he's gonna write the script for Doodle Boy.
It's Scribble Boy. Okay. Don't get us sued by fucking Doodle Jump, all right? But look for our new app, Scribble Jump.
Scribble Jump?
Yeah. But so I remember when I wrote it, it was solely based on this premise of these three mob members are dealing with a snitch. And again, they're just like, they're going to make him dig his own grave, kill him. And so,
do you remember how you got that idea?
I remember how I got that idea. I was gonna say that too.
Oh, okay.
But first, the premise is like they're one's like really intimidating the guy. He's driving the car and he's intimidating this victim. And he mentions something about how this character named Jorge brought the shovels, and Jorge then says, "What? No, I didn't bring any shovels." And it just starts this banter between them like it's a fucking parent yelling at a child like, I told you to bring that. And Jorge goes, "No, you never told me to bring that. You told Sancho," which is another character. But I remember that's all I had. And I just started writing from there. Like I didn't know how it was going to end. I didn't know where it was going to go. But what ended up happening was it was like, I just asked myself at the end of a scene, well, what would happen next? What would these characters do? How would they react? And when I kept thinking about their reactions, it led me there. And even like acting it out, like me, you, and another friend of ours named Ian, we each took on a character and we just kind of gave ourselves these like scenarios and see how they would play out. And I took bits from that moment of improv to like say, okay, I really want a setup for this because I think it'll be a hilarious joke. And I do think the script is great. I mean, but it did grow like that. Yeah. Another story that's kind of like it grew and it didn't start with a theme. Like even The Odd Job. The Odd Job didn't start with a theme, but I found one in it. Another script I'm writing right now called The Noise. So much has changed from it. Yeah. Like I'm not gonna say too much of the premise of that one because I want to keep that a secret, you know. Yeah. And I do feel that one will come sooner than The Odd Job. But basically, I started off with one person as the main character, and another person just supposed to be a supporting character that would have left in like before even Act 1 ended. And then I liked that supporting character a lot. I kept them in longer, and then I made that supporting character the main character. The main character became a supporting character, but they both stayed throughout the whole film. And one of the reasons why that switch happened was I started seeing the story in the supporting character, and I started asking myself, well, what if this situation I want to play out happens to them? Then a theme started coming to my mind. Then I started thinking these subtexts, and it just grew like that. Yeah.
I think overall, the similarities that we have is like we keep our processes loose.
It's very loose. Yeah. I try not to fall in love with any ideas. Yeah. And they say that don't fall in love with any ideas. You can like them, you can really support them, but know that if you're really stuck,
right. Yeah.
Don't be in denial if it's like that one idea is the reason why you're stuck.
No, definitely. And at the end of the day, it's really like for our individual projects is how satisfied you are with it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's good to like learn the skill of sacrificing those things. Because that is a skill, because there are a lot of people are stubborn with like their process as well. And I guess if it works for them, it works for them. But I just feel like the amounts of times that I guess make mistakes in your process from the beginning to the end, that's when you know like what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm pretty sure from like even like the noise, I'm not gonna say too much about it too, but like there was a point where you were like stuck in a certain part, like, well, where does this go after this, right? And like what like basically you're talking about the supporting character turning into the main one, right?
Yeah.
And that clicked a lot better, right? Because like there was so much traction to go off, there was so much flow to go off this supporting character.
Yeah.
So it's just really nice how that works.
It's just the willingness to experiment.
Yeah.
And I guess also like not if something is coming off very good, and say like for me, it's like that story is just a really good read,
Yeah.
Don't tell yourself, but this is not how I want the story. This wasn't supposed to happen like this. It's like, well, see where it goes. Like even me with that script, The Noise, I kept writing it for a while with my original main character, and I wrote both of their process all the way up to the same point in which I said like, once the exciting incident happened, I went, you know what? No, I made up my mind.
Yeah.
But it's because like I was willing to experiment. Yeah. I was willing to see just where my story would take itself.
Yeah.
With those two examples, it does sound like I'm that gardener type of writer, but I mean,
like
the one that just lets it grow. But I think with like, I just might be. I'm thinking of a lot of scripts. I think rarely I am one that has like I know exactly what notes I want to hit, and even if I do, I don't know enough of those type of notes to really like make the whole story. I think of one script in which it's like, oh, it'd be great to have this beginning and I want this ending, but even though I know how I want it to end and I already know like the theme and message I want to say,
right,
I still don't know how I'm gonna get there. And you see, even though I've had that plan, it's like, no, that's a big fucking gap to just say I know exactly what I want and beat by beat. Like, no, I'm kind of just like writing it and let's see what these characters do,
That's kind of why, like, the journey to from beginning to end is more important than the actual final process. Because, like, the journey from starting a project to ending one, like, it's never gonna be the same. It's never gonna go exactly how you intend it to be. And, that as an artist, whether it be writing, whether it be like my painting, that is like what we live for. Like it's like the uncertainty that we're confident in. Woo! Yeah.
I think that's where that fun comes from. When I reread my stories, I get excited.
Yeah.
I get like, I feel this thing. Like, it's good. Like, if you're the writer and you're feeling what you want the audience to feel, that's fucking great. Right. And I think that's the reason why, though, because, like, when I write it, sometimes it's like, I don't know how I came up with this. I don't know how I got here,
Definitely.
Sometimes I start a project and I look back at my old ones, like, how the fuck how did I start? How did I even finish this? Like, what? I want to do this again? I don't know how. Oh my God. Right. Acting like I wasn't there.
Well, to kind of go back to the, remember how I mentioned my 30-minute warm-ups?
Yeah.
From that, like, I gained, like, everything carried on to, like, my art now. In the sense of, like, okay, I put down this stroke for a reason, right? Like, everything in that span of 30 minutes matters. I rarely go back and erase it. Because it's like, it's there, it's put, right? I'm going to work with it, right? And then usually it turns out to be better than what I originally imagined, just by putting those paint strokes there.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, experimenting, making it loose, like, usually turns out to be much better.
Yeah.
Towards the end. So, like, even when it comes to, like, I'm an impatient person. Well, I can be patient, but impatient. But I learned to work around it, which is why I'm known for painting really quick.
Yeah, wait, was that really done just for being impatient?
Or? It's like
you're impatient with yourself. Is that what I'm trying to?
I'm impatient. I
just want to see a dragon already.
I don't. No. It's so weird.
I thought of a dirtier way to make that joke. You're like, oh, I really want to see. I really want to see cartoon boobs. None of these are doing it for me. So you're like drawing really fast. Like I just need boobs already. People are gonna come home soon.
The timer's running out. No, but I guess in a sense, like
I know it's like being a dead horse, but like where we live, we have like stairs. And the steps get really loud, so I can see you like doing the finishing touches on the nipples, and you hear, bum, 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 like, I'm almost out of
dude, I didn't even get to take my dick out.
And then you're like, for later.
You mumble to yourself, fuck. So, I'm just overall an impatient. I was very impatient with like from start to finish. Whenever I saw like kids my age, like also artists, like take every stroke and like just focus on one line for a good 20 minutes. I'm like, just fucking draw the line, like I noticed that from time to time, and I thought that was just me being like I guess I'm just a failed artist. I guess I'm just not good, right? But I've realized, like, especially meeting a lot of other artists, it's like, no, everyone has different ways of completing a painting, right? There's a lot of speed artists online, right? You see, like, on YouTube, like, they're fucking phenomenal.
And for people who don't know, that those are artists on the drug speed, right?
No, there's not. No, not at all. You went way off.
Okay, should have done my research ahead of the show.
You probably should have. Yeah. Now everything's about drugs, Nick.
Well, when you mention a drug's name, I'm sorry, I assume it's about drugs.
Okay. But what was it? Yeah, so speed painting.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, so it is okay to actually do this? Because I always thought, like, oh my goodness, like these, like everyone would brag about this took me 8 hours to do, right? And everyone's like, oh, fucking amazing, right? And I'm looking at my drawings, I'm like, it's practically the same, like it's like the same type of quality. And I felt like I was like, do I need to put more? Do I need to put less? Like, I don't understand, right? But again, after I found out that everyone has different processes, like we were talking about. Like my process, I decided to focus on the efficiency of my process rather than like, oh, I have to make sure I do such and such hours with it, because no one can tell. Yeah, like if you ever see my Instagram, like Instagram and the comments and all that, and like the comments I get on my stuff, like it'd be like, wow, like this looks amazing and this looks like incredible. None of them are like, how long did this take? Right?
Yeah.
It's like
someone comments like, hey, this looks like 2 hours of work.
Yeah. So and that's why I really enjoyed for a while at CIS I did 20-minute portraits. Right? I feel like if I didn't say that, people would still think that'd be like full on rendered stuff. Right? So yeah,
that kind of reminds me of like when you learn about screenwriting, and I mean, especially with the classes I've taken, I feel like you read enough articles about it, I had to dismiss what I'm about to bring up, but that there's rules of how to make a story and how to make a
I remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
I guess I don't need to say it then.
No, I'm just commenting.
Like I'm not being recorded like everyone else is like, oh, what the fuck, Azero?
No, it's okay.
But basically it was
catch it in the lost episode. Next episode.
But it was like they acted like there was these rules, and in these classes they say these are rules, and that stressed me out so much to like create a screenplay, because I'm like, oh, I mean I think it's good, other people think it's good, but this is not up to the standard. I'm breaking these rules, and this is why I'm never going to become a professional, like paid screenwriter. Right. Even in the realm of story, I remember my first screenwriting class, my teacher asked me, who's the main character? And this was for The Odd Job. And I said, oh, well, all three of them are main characters. And she says, well, that's not how it is. Which one has an arc? And I was like, none of them. And like, you need to have an arc. And like, how does your character change from the beginning to the end? And I'm like,
and that wasn't the criteria of the assignment. That was just in general.
No, well, we need to do these assignments to help us develop a story. So it'll be like, find a main character. Describe to me your main character. Answer all these questions about your main character.
Right.
And I started to get so self-conscious about my script because I realized, I was like, oh, I should know my character's arc. And my character has no arc, so why would anyone be interested in this story? I was starting to like feel like, no, it shouldn't be good. And this was after people read it and said it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then I start to hear about basically like there are famous movies, well-praised movies that don't follow these traditions of writing, like having one main character or a character arc.
Right.
In fact, there's a whole video out there. I think it's by Just Right. If you want to, you copped right over it, like trying to block us promoting someone else. Just Right made a video about like characters without a character arc.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, it's been done in which like a character starts with one belief and they end with that same belief.
Yeah.
And just to think like, wow, some of these examples are pretty old, and they were going to try to tell me like, no, you can never do that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I can't think of it now, but it's like there are stories out there that have multiple main characters. Hell, Pulp Fiction, actually, that's the first thing on my mind. Pulp Fiction, who's the main character when there's so many different stories in it?
Yeah.
What is the arc of each one of those characters who had their own stories?
I still have to fucking watch it, but yeah, I'll take your word on it.
I mean, it's just like it doesn't always have to be that way. And I guess one of my philosophies in writing, from what I read from something called the so-called screenwriting rules. I think that's
good,
what it's called.
son. That's what it is.
No, but he said like, if it's a good story, it's a good story. That's it. That's all. That is the only thing. Like, he was like, the author said, you could write a script on a napkin and pen. If it's a good story, it's a good story.
Yeah.
You know? No one's going to read your story and enjoy it, but in the end say something like, oh, but I don't know who the main character was. You know? Because if they enjoyed it, they enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. No, most definitely. And like, I think the part of the growing process is coming to terms with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, like, I think we were kind of raised in that way of like, okay, there's got to be a beginning to end of the process, like, you know, like the planned. What was the Gardner thing? Like Gardner it's something versus something.
Yeah, I forgot the other term, and I'm not even quite sure if Gardner's the other one. But basically, it was like, you know, you're one who has everything planned out, or you're someone who just lets the seed. You plant the seed and let it grow, and you follow it.
Yeah, so evolving from that, like the planning versus like you know, kind of going with the flow type stuff. That's like a huge like growing process as an artist, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, and I totally agree.
Well, not to say that like both of them can't be
no, definitely not.
Like, they're just different writing like approaches.
I actually,
but not like one plays by the rules strictly and the other one doesn't. They both can play, but they could both use what they should be called tips, not rules.
But I feel like, but I know for a fact every artist who's keep going and like who strives to be greater has played with it too, right? It's no doubt in my mind, right? That's how they get better.
Mm-hmm. You should definitely play around with any craft you're doing.
Yeah.
You should definitely step out of your comfort zone, because you don't know what way is going to be your new favorite way. Yeah. And even if you don't like it, even if it's not the best, you don't know what's going to influence you.
Yeah. And that and like from that's when you know, like, okay, that doesn't work for me, rather than like, what if I did this?
Yeah.
Right. But no, this always worked.
Yeah. Here's a great example. I get influence for my directing from theater. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I took a class that was comparing film and theater, and what's the difference between the two and their approaches. And it wasn't just saying like, well, one's with a camera and the other one doesn't have a camera.
Yeah.
It was actually describing different ways a director would take the approach to grab the audience attention. And they basically were saying, like, you know, when you're doing film, what's great is you can put the camera right at someone's face, and that's when you can, like, force someone to focus on that face. You can't do that in theater.
Right.
Everything is basically in one extreme long shot. So how do you get someone to look at one character?
Yeah.
And, you know, when I started the class, I was like, I guess it's just extremely difficult. And, like, you could do the brightest light on them. You could do the only light on them. You could use certain colors. Like, they talked about, like, this color will grab more attention than any other color. You could put them in this type of outfit. Movement will catch the eye the most. Talking would catch the eye the most. If everybody's looking. So basically, I took this class in which it taught me methods of directing outside of just pushing your camera somewhere.
Right.
And I still use that to this day. I ask myself, like, when it comes to it, is like, what is another way I can, like, play with this? Because I do like full shots, and full shots are basically like you see the entire actor head to toe.
Yes.
I do really like those, and I like to see, like, how many actions can be done in one shot.
Right.
I like to experiment with that, and you will find that, like, in Hyde, and even like in Sully Brook, there wasn't too many crazy cuts going on. Of course, that's a mockumentary style, but you know, I always just like to play with that. You know, what can I do that's not just like close up and then get closer and then get closer? It's like, what else?
Well, you're kind of even. It's funny that you mentioned that because you're kind of even talking in the realm of concept art too. Like all of our stuff as a concept artist, they have purpose. How a background is set, right? You know, if lines are converging to the focal point, anything like that. Like you taking that inspiration from something completely different is still as effective, if not 10 times more effective in your craft. And like I said, like that's how you grow.
Yeah, it made me just want to experiment how to tell if this could actually be an effective way to tell these stories. And that's the type of experiment I do. Yeah. And you know what? It is interesting to think. You know, it's the fact that me and Azero both have influenced each other in our work. We're in two different fields. We're both artists, but you know, mine is in film and writing, and storytelling, while his is about design. Right. And I just never want. I always want to say graphic design, but it's like no. It's I don't want to just say art.
Rubbing my pet peeve.
I don't want to just say art too, because it's like we keep saying we're both artists.
Yeah.
But, yeah, art, visual art.
I get it. No, I get it, but basically,
hopefully they get it. But like you think we'll just kind of like do our own things, and you know, just kind of like never really cross paths and ask each other for advice, get influence from each other. But we do. You ask me about pieces you're working on, and I ask you about like if certain choices in like production design or hair and makeup. Costumes is like a good choice.
Yeah. And also at the end of the day, it makes you more aware of what's going on. It makes you like your vocabulary, like even especially for you as a director, it's extremely crucial to have that like open mindedness of like kind of going into every realm, like to know like where you want to put your story, you want to put your writing and all that, because it's like, okay, you know, camera work, you know, some forms of camera work, right? It's like, okay, so will this be able to work in this scenario, or like for the, like you said, like the makeup, all that stuff. It's like, okay, can this be done, right? So you have more awareness.
Yeah. So yeah. And maybe, who knows, we could talk about our two worlds crossing over like this. Next time on Confidently Uncertain.
Okay, you didn't count.
I thought you would have sensed the pause.
No,
it's called setup. Take an improv class.
Okay, but I'm not going to. So this is not this is a podcast, Nick. Do you know that?
We improvised. This whole conversation was improvised.
It was improvised, but at the same time, there needs to be some sort of structure. So I'm going to take back everything I said. You know what? I hate chaos. I like structure.
You want structure.
Yeah, give me the structure, huh?
Okay, well, that's really your standpoint. I'm going to delete all of this podcast.
Yeah. You know what? You know what? Delete the pilot as well. All right? I don't like any of the conversation we had after that, right? Okay, 3, 2, 1. Totally uncertain. Damn it.
You also said the wrong title.
Confidently uncertain.
All right, let's.
Why did I say totally?
Okay, let's. You know what? It's confidently uncertain.
Uncertain. Yes.
with Nik and Azero. We could say that if we want, but let's just do confidently uncertain. Let's close off with one perfect one. When I say go, I mean it this time. I'm only gonna count 3. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, go, and we're both gonna say it.
Got you.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I see your face.
No, I'm gonna do it.
No, I see your face as in you think I'm not gonna do it. Like your face is ready to be like, what the fuck is he gonna? What's his punchline?
Okay, no, I will do it. I'm gonna do it. All right.
3, 2, 1, go.
Confidently uncertain
with Nik and Azero.
Thank you guys. See you next week.
See ya.